Hello, Texas fans. Today on the Spur Radio Roundup, we hear from Richie Bastillo. So saddle up. Here we go. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Spur Radio and the Spur Radio podcast. We got a guest that I've got to meet back in November at the Texas Country Music Awards, and he's joining me via internet right now. Where you at, Richie? Where you actually videoing in from?
I'm back at home, San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio. All right. Well, we've got Richie Bastillo.
Yes.
Did I do that right?
You did good.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right, cool. Well, first of all, let's just start out with people that may not know you. I know down in the Texas scene, but up here in Nebraska and all over. How did you get started in music, Richie, and how long you been doing it?
I've been singing since I was 9 years old. I, started off with doo-wop and soul, 50s rock and roll. My grandfather was the one that introduced me to all the music that I used to listen to and I used to sing growing up. And what it ended up leading to, listening to all of that, of course I would just go and sing for the family. But there was this one time I was just like, I think I would like to do a talent show. And my uncle, one of my uncles, which is my dad's brother, and he was the one that was like, I think you have a voice, I think you have potential, and why don't you try it? And he gave me a few other oldie songs that I'd never learned before, and I learned 2 of them in 1 week. And that was the one. He goes, I need you to go and sing your heart out. So he encouraged me to just do it and to do that talent show. So I did the talent show, and I was lucky enough to be a part of Float. And in that float, I just represented me, my family, and my South Side by doing that. But it all started singing. Like, I took it a lot more serious and realized that I really wanted to sing when I was 9.
Sure.
But that's how it all started. Eventually ended up in my middle school years. I started learning guitar around 13. Joined a rock band, and we played nothing but punk rock and metal and new metal, and it was
punk rock.
Yeah.
Huh?
So I didn't necessarily start off in country music, but that's where I was having fun, and that's where I learned how to work with the band and work as a team. But generally, like I said, 9 years old was when I started. 13 is when I started in a band. So I've been playing guitar and singing and writing music for about 12 years now, but I started singing when I was 9.
Sure, cool. Well, fast forward to 2022. Back in October, I think, is probably the first time I heard your song, your last song, not the new one we're going to talk about, Booze.
Yes.
And if I remember right, I think maybe Spur Radio might have put that out there first, maybe?
You were first.
Pretty close?
You were first.
Cool. Yeah, and then we got to meet up along with Cynthia with the G289 Productions and Entertainment.
Yes.
I think she's one of your radio promoters too, and helps. So she contacted and sent it to me. So shout out to Cynthia there. But then we got to hook up down at the TCMA Awards, and that was fun.
Oh, it was lots of fun. It was a pleasure meeting you as always, and you were the first one, and that's why I always say I give you all my appreciation, and I thank you all the time as much as I can give you, because you were the one that gave me my shot. And
hey, it was a good song. It went well. It charted really well.
Not bad for the first song.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk about, you got a band. Let's talk about your band and some of your band members, and we got to give them kudos.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my band, these are the normal guys that I've been rotating right now. But, the one that's really stuck with me was my bass player. And I met him about 5 years ago. His name is Rudy Lopez. And I met him about 5 years ago. Me and him both worked for Lowe's. And just ended up like normal conversation, just talking about what we liked. And he said, hey, well, I play music. And I was like, well, I do too. And literally, 2 years after that is when we were like, why don't we just start trying to do something? Let's just try to start a band. So at the time, we both like rock and we both like country music. We were trying to kind of make our own sound, which ended up being Texas country, because I didn't really know too much. Texas country had its own genre, and I'm fairly new to country. Didn't listen to it for years. But as we were kind of like trying to establish our sound, and that's how we just ended up stumbling across it. And after doing the rock stuff, we did like blues rock. Then that's when we started working as a country band and writing country music. So, he was kind of the one that's been there along the way with the more professional side of me taking country music a little bit more seriously. So he's been there pretty much since the day one, I can say.
Right.
He's been great help. So that's my bass player, Rudy Lopez.
All right.
And then my steel guitar player, his name is Randy Gilliam. I've been working with him for 4 years. Randy's been playing since he was like 13 years old.
Wow.
And, he's a great picker here from San Antonio. And, it's been a blessing. He's always helped me out, and he's always willing to help me out. My guitar player, his name is Leo Thibodeau. And Leo's original jazz player out of all things. But he adds a fantastic sound to what makes me and my band sound like what we do, and because it just goes and goes on with his talent and his creativity. That's one of the main things that I point out to him. Like, I love how you do this thing and this thing, but one important thing that I really like is adding some, as Tex-Mex being that, and like I like to portray a little bit of that sound. Every once in a while, he pulls out this guitar pedal that makes it sound like an accordion. So it changes up the sound completely, but that's the kind of guitar player I really need, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, I'm talking about Leo, that's my guitar player. Yeah.
All right.
And lastly, my drummers, I've been kind of rotating them around, but the ones that have been really helping me is Mickey Scott. Mickey Scott's been all over the world. That guy has been playing for a long time, and he helped me out. I've known him for about 4 years too. And so there's Mickey Scott, and then Mike Aguilar is a drummer, multi-instrumentalist here from San Antonio, and he's been helping me out a lot too. So I give props to all those guys.
You bet. Got to have a band. Yes.
And they're good.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about your last single, Booze, a little bit, you're coming up. Don't you have some Texas Internet Radio Awards or nominations that you got nominated for with Booze?
So I did get nominated for the Texas Internet Radio chart for Best Emerging Artist, Male Artist. I got nominated for that. And so that's one thing. And then even in town, locally, we have our own little group of people that we all do country music, and we all support each other. But I even got nominated for Best Original Song for country music, for the Thirsty Horse and Enabler Entertainment Awards, which is just here in San Antonio. But, being recognized by my peers and people that support me here in town, it means a lot.
That's where it all started. That's where it all starts.
It means a lot. So I got nominated for that too.
Let's talk about the new one. You've got a new one out. We've been playing it here on Spur Radio, and it's already charting. What are you in your second or third week?
Second week, charted at 69, which is not bad at all. It took me months to get to that for the first single. And man, it's just cool to see that happen. For it being released even to the platforms, the streaming platforms, at the exact same time, it was already pretty much charting on, or about to be charting, and it did it fairly quickly. So it's kind of mind blowing to me to see it climb that quick.
Right, and that is, of course, Two Hearts, One Moon, and you can hear it here on Spur Radio, and then, of course, all the Spotify and all the other streaming stations. But we always like it when people listen on Spur Radio.
Absolutely.
So that's
Spur Radio plays the stuff. Yeah, that's
you bet.
Stuff.
You bet. So, well, great. So tell us a little bit about the song. How'd you come out? Who wrote it? Is it something you co-wrote? Or
no co-writing at all. Actually, this was given to me, and I always give props to him. Is the first thing I always say when I perform it too, was through my good buddy Vic Quinton. And Vic Quinton wrote the song with Dale McBride, who is Terry McBride's dad. Terry McBride from Terry McBride and the Right. And Terry McBride, Dale McBride passed in 91, I believe. But Vic had originally written this song with him, and, he was just kind of like, I don't know who I would want to sing. He had held on to the song for so long, and I understood it was his baby. And one day it was the middle of last year, 22, and he goes, I have a possible song I might like you to, sing for me. And I was like, well, yeah, I would like to. And, I was just very lucky to just be able to sing it. But that song, it has the 90s country feel, and that's what piqued my interest. I go, no, man, I love to sing this song. And, you know, I call him Uncle Vic. You know, he's been a great mentor to me and a great help. And, you know, I couldn't thank him enough, because it's really been, this song's been fun so far, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
What do you got coming up? I mean, you got anything in the works for your next song? Are you working on some new stuff after, or what are your plans?
Yeah, I do have a lot of originals that I'm working on releasing within the next year. There was another one that Vic kind of wanted me to do, so I'm still trying to figure out, you know, am I going to release one of my originals again, or am I going to go with the route that, you know, with Vic? But Vic's been a great help. And so I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but people are going to be getting new music in the next few months, you know. There's another one lined up already, or another few lined up.
All right.
Yeah, I also wanted to give a big shout out to Drew Womack, you know, great singer-songwriter, also the new frontman of Lone Star. He sings for Lone Star now, but he was the one that actually did my background vocals for Booze and for Two Hearts One Moon. But you know, he makes everything sound great with those harmonies. And but you know, that was another name that I wanted to mention. He worked on the music.
Right. So coming up in the future here, what do you got coming out as far as schedule? And you've been playing everywhere. I've been watching you, and you know, on your Facebook and Instagram, and you're getting out there.
I'm playing a lot in town, mainly. That's been the cool thing, and you know, I'm branching out to trying to get out of town. So, you know, actually, this upcoming weekend, I'm playing probably about an hour away from here, called Kerrville, Texas. So I'm playing that on Friday the 17th, and you know, I'm going up to Round Rock on Saturday with my buddy J.R. Herrera. And, you know, I'm opening up for him. But, you know, expansion is my goal for this year. And, you know, that's, you know, my first step right there. I'm just trying to get more out of town, and then even out of state at some point, too.
Sure.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, you got a unique sound.
Thank you.
I just love your sound, you know, and it's been great visiting with you here on Spur Radio. I can call you a friend.
Yes,
got
sir.
to meet, had a good time. We had a good time down in Fort Worth. We got to meet a lot of new people, so it was good. But I always enjoy talking to you, Richie, and I appreciate you coming on and visiting with us, especially about your new song that you got out now on radio, Two Hearts, One Moon. So thank you so much for joining us here, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, and like I said before, thank you for giving me that shot. And you know, Spur Radio holds a real close place in my heart. So thank you.
No problem. Well, everybody, that was Richie Bastillo.
You did it.
All right. Thank you, Richie, for being with us, and thank you all for joining us here on Spur Radio and Spur Radio Podcast.